came into this one really needing a win. So how did Chelsea manage to exploit Liverpool down the flanks, Wayne?
I think Liverpool, it's a clear problem they've got in the right-back area. And I think if you look, Bradley's come off twice in the last 2 league games at half-time. So they've tried Szoboszlai in there at times, and it hasn't really worked for him. And Frimpong was on the bench today and didn't get on. So they've tried 3 full-backs in 7 league games. So I think Chelsea have seen that and they've exploited it. So I think if you watch here, Cucurella and Garnacho, they're in really good positions, and Bradley makes the wrong decision in going to Cucurella, and then you've got Maraska. You can see him telling Sanchez to put the ball in behind Bradley, which is the problem. Konate gets dragged out of position. Conor Bradley's trying to recover inside, but it gives puts Chelsea in a real dangerous position. And now as they're trying to recover the positions, the Liverpool back four are all over the place, and then you've got Van Dijk steps out, and if that pass is a little bit better, there's a massive space for Pedro in the middle of the goal to have a tap in. So that was a warning sign. And then again here, now you've got Garnacho, he faces Bradley up. Salah's no interest in tracking back to help him out, and Bradley, he's trying to do his best to get to the Chelsea players, and ultimately it leads in him getting a yellow card, which I'm sure that was a big factor in why he got subbed off at half-time. And again here, different players, but the same again. Szoboszlai gets dragged out into Cucurella. Now it's Gravenberch at centre-back. He gets isolated. Now he's one-on-one with Garnacho, and then a little bit of care. Chelsea maybe have a goal. And then this was Mo Salah. I think he's with Cucurella. He has to stay with him because this was a problem. Chelsea can see that. They've exploited it. He's no interest in really tracking back. It's a lazy jog. Then he stops. Cucurella keeps going. And now from being together, there's a big 20-yard gap. And this was a problem all afternoon for Liverpool. And now the other side, it goes to Estevao. Salah again is in a position where he needs to get back and he needs to connect with his midfield players, but he doesn't. And Chelsea have got big overloads. Estevao sees that. Enzo makes a run in off the back of Szoboszlai now, where Mo Salah, I think he's not even close enough to shout to tell Szoboszlai. And then the winning goal, again Cucurella making forward runs. Salah's no interest in getting back. Van Dijk is with his man. Robertson's got his hands on his knees. I don't know if he's got a knock or he's tired. Estevao's in a good position at the back. Van Dijk leaves his man, tries to play offside, and Robertson is unaware of what's behind him, and Estevao gets the winning goal. So I think it was a big problem for Liverpool, not just tonight, but throughout the season.
You know, you mentioned Salah there. I know you can basically get away with what you want when you're scoring 25 or 30 goals, but Salah has no interest in tracking back anyway. So what's the difference from him last season to this season, that they're not getting away with it this season?
I think last season they were consistent in the team. They were consistent in the midfield. They had the 3 in midfield, and they were very difficult to play against, and that helped. That midfield shuffled across and helps out a lot. Where this season they've played the 2 in midfield, they've had Wert in front of that, and today was the first time they've gone back to a 3. So maybe it was a bit unfamiliar for the midfield this season, and it's took them a bit more time than they thought to fix that.
It was a really good game, and it got better and better as the game went on, and Chelsea were very impressive. Moises Caicedo particularly so.
It was a gigantic midfield performance, it really was. It had absolutely everything. It had a bit of Frank Lampard, it had a bit of N'Golo Kante. He was just absolutely sensational. He covered every bit of grass that he could, and of course the goal topped it off. I mean, there's no goalkeeper in the world that's going to save this. But the way he makes and creates space for himself, they did this most of the afternoon. Has actually made it difficult for Liverpool's midfield to get near him. But that touch to get away from McAllister, and then the technique there, as I said, there's no one stopping that. The power behind that's incredible, and the perfect. I said it just had everything, this performance from him. It had the goal, it had protection in front of his back four. Don't forget the injuries and suspensions that they've got, Chelsea. So they needed him in that midfield to stand up. The composure, not under pressure at all, to play the passes like that, then to set Chelsea on the way in the final third again, and then same again, protection, timing of the tackle was absolutely superb and spot on most of the afternoon. And then very nearly again, he had the shot again. It's a decent save, but he's having the pop. And this is in the last minute of the game, basically protecting that goal again, or that win again. And he was just, it had everything. The midfield performance had everything from him. And that's not just today. That's all season, by the way, in midfielders. So it was almost near on perfect performance from a midfielder.
Maresca got 2 yellows, got sent off eventually for celebrating his second yellow, but you can't blame him, can you? A week ago, he was allegedly under a lot of pressure and might have lost his job had he not had a win in the Champions League midweek.
I know the laws and the rules, but come on, you're a brilliant late goal. Your team has been superb for you under huge pressure, and he gets a yellow card for showing that emotion.
Huge win for Chelsea, and we'll come on to them in a moment. But from a Liverpool perspective, how disappointed were you, Danny?
I think disappointed in the fact that the last 2 games have been lackluster and expected a reaction. The second half, you could argue they had a good go and they committed men forward and took some risks. But the first half was a bit tepid. There was a bit of lethargy still, a bit of nervousness. There wasn't a bravery in their play. I mean, Chelsea weren't brilliant. Well, I think we've talked a lot about the amount of changes over the weeks Liverpool have had to make in personnel. So that's one factor in terms of players building relationships. Some players are lacking physically because they missed pre-season. Yeah. So, and of course, when you lose a couple of games and you're playing for a huge club like Liverpool, sometimes the pressure for any player can overcome them and therefore their performance drops. But the biggest thing for Liverpool is, compared to last season, the lack of composure. You know, the controlling games they've lost. Palace, they played better today than they did at Palace, which is saying something. And midweek wasn't particularly good, but they had no control in those 3 games. And that's the thing I think fans are looking at, going, how can we go from a team that's composed and controlled to then one that's playing basketball and could be in, it's like Keegan's Newcastle of old, you know.
Well, yeah, and as Arne Slot said, it actually could have gone either way in the end, Glenn. But Chelsea took all 3 points. It was a great late goal. But let's take it back to the beginning and have a look at Caicedo's goal, because it was beautiful.
Special, a special goal. This really is. I mean, they work it really well, Chelsea. They get outnumbered, Liverpool in midfield, and Caicedo's little first touch there sets it up beautifully. Nobody comes out from Liverpool's defence to close him down, so he sets it yet again, and then the strike is just wonderful. It doesn't move at all. Sometimes, you know,